All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing The Excange, the brand new novel by John Grisham. This is the long overdue sequel to his 1991 thriller, The Firm, which of course launched his career into the stratosphere. One of my favorite thriller novels of all time. And 30 years later, 32 years later, I don't know the math on that, we get another one starring the same character. So let's talk about the cover first, because I love graphic design and cover illustration. And we'll just compare and contrast a cover from the early 1990s to a cover from the 2023. And there's some, I don't know, they're both good. This one looks a little dated a little bit, the graphics and stuff, the Photoshop and things. This one looks a little more elegant and modern. It's cool. I like it because it's got the upside down. It's got this dude here who's standing. Then it's got the upside down city. I think that's Istanbul. I don't know what it is. But then you turn it up, and then now the city's not upside down anymore. But the guy is. That's insanity. Oh my gosh, the art director and the graphic design team. What have you done to me? Mind blown. Okay, and then the backside we got this. I don't even know if there's a picture of the dude. Yeah, there's a picture of the dude. There's a John Grisham himself. Okay, so The Firm, of course. I just reread that one and reviewed it on the channel a couple days ago in preparation for the sequel. I love The Firm. Probably one of the, I think it was one of the first non-science fiction, non-fantasy books I ever read when I was really young, and it just blew me away. The whole, and if you want to watch that review, just type in my last name, Durfee, The Firm, and type those two words into your YouTube search bar, and the video review will magically appear upon your television screen, your computer screen, maybe even your phone if that's what you're watching the internet on. I'm not here to judge anybody for how they look at the internet. I'm just saying, if you want to watch my review of this, I love that book. One of my introduction to thriller novels was John Grisham, Tom Clancy, and Robert Ludlum back in the day. Okay, this is a sequel starring the same character, Mitch, who was the young lawyer in The Firm, the young lawyer that got the awesome job in The Firm, that got a great paycheck in The Firm, that started to realize he was working for some corrupt lawyers in The Firm. Well, now in this book, we jump to 15 years later, so early 2000s. It's not like 30 years later, it's just like 15 years later. After The Firm. Now, Mitch is no longer living in Memphis. In The Firm, he moved to Memphis to work for the law firm. Now he lives in New York City. He's got an office overlooking Battery Park in New York City. He's got a great life, one of the biggest law firms in the world. His wife, Abby, works for a publisher. They publish cookbooks, so there's a kind of a little bit about cooking and things like that at the beginning of the book. And then Mitch is kind of drawn into this case where they want him to go back to Memphis, and he's avoided Memphis ever since this novel. He doesn't want to go back. There's bad memories. People remember him from there, but they need him to go back to Memphis to defend a death row inmate, and so he goes back. Reluctantly goes back. His wife's not happy about it. Once there, things start to get a little, fishy. Things get a little squirrely. And then Mitch's mentor comes into the picture, asks for a favor that ends up taking Mitch out of Memphis, out of the United States entirely, which is rare. I think this might be the only book where John Grisham has taken us on to the international thriller type of stage. So Mitch ends up going off to do this other thing that he has agreed to do, which takes him as far away as like I said, Istanbul, Tripoli, Libya. In fact, he gets involved. This is 15 years ago. It's 15 years. It's the early 2000s. He gets involved in Benghazi. He gets involved with Gaddafi. I mean, Libya's not a good place back then. Things just get worse and worse. And this is a thriller novel. This goes from a legal thriller. Like, this is The Firm is a 100% legal thriller definition of the word legal thriller. Look that up in the dictionary and it'll just show you a picture of The Firm. This, however, I was not expecting John Grisham to take us from just a legal thriller to a straight up sort of Robert Ludlum, Tom Clancy-esque sort of international thriller where we go to a lot of exotic locations with worldwide implications that our guy Mitch is now involved in. Like, there's danger everywhere. Again, his friends, even like this book, his friends and his family are in danger. But now, not just from bad lawyers and the mobsters, but from international problems. And there's nowhere for any of them to hide, of course. And just like The Firm, Mitch has to stay one step ahead of the bad guys if he wants to survive any of this. And so that's kind of where we're at. I was surprised with the turn that it took into an international thriller. John Grisham is known for the legal thrillers, the minutia of lawyering, and it's kind of why I read him. He's kind of my legal thriller guy. And for him to kind of launch out into international thriller territory, I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to roll with it. Ultimately though, I found myself being more enamored with the legal thriller side of John Grisham and not so much the political international thriller side of Grisham. The Firm here, it's a 10 out of 10 thriller for me. And this was pretty good too. I liked it for what it was. A decent thriller, but decent is about the grade I'm going to give it. So I'm going to give it about a 7.5 out of 10. And I enjoyed it. I read it all the way through. There was parts that were cool. I like legal thriller. When I pick up John Grisham, I want legal thriller. And maybe I just need to open my mind. Maybe I just need to realize that authors can do other things. I mean, he's done some humorous legal thrillers, like in the Camino series and the stuff like that. He's done a few. And he's anyway, I'm just saying. The new book by John Grisham, fairly dope, just not super dope.